Well, hello and welcome to my messy desk, where all manner of electronic stuff gets left laying around. What are we doing today? Well, these have arrived. They're very easy to drop. These are little OLED displays, little organic LED displays. I've never played with these before. My apprentice agrees too that they look like fun, if you heard her in the background there. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can make these work. Now, I have an AT Mega 2650, I think, or 2560. I get those backwards. But I think, given how many pins are on these, I reckon I can make them work with a Digispark. Now, for the uneducated, I'll grab a Digispark out. Grab a Digispark or two. These are little Arduino units based on the AT Tiny chip. I reckon I can make one of these run one of those and maybe turn it into some sort of little wearable device. I wonder. It might work. At some point too, I need to improvise myself some kind of a better tripod here, because my good old trusty Octopod, well, the bottom lip of it snapped off the other day, so I'm going to have to come up with a better solution for that, but that might be a 3D printing video. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of homework, and once I've figured out what I'm doing, we'll be right back. Alright, we have achieved step 1. I've managed to get the libraries loaded for this, and I've managed to upload a demo sketch to the AT Mega 2560. It's now going through a bunch of little bits and pieces, working it all out. Now, one of the sketches that I checked said to use the A4 and A5 analog inputs, but that was with an Uno. I kind of took the initiative to connect to the SDA and SCL, which seems to have been correct. Also, note on the board here where it says SCK, it really means SCL. It's a bit of a typo on the board. I think that's why they're only like $1.50 a piece. But yeah, the demo seems to be working. So let's see if we can cram this same code onto Digispark and work out which is our SDA and STL out. As a matter of interest, two of them will work in parallel. Literally just paralleled all 4 connections. So that's nice to know, although it does require restarting the Arduino to do it. It's nice to know I can use 2 screens on stuff. Alright, let's get cracking. Okay, so hiding up in the corner here on my hub, I now have a Digispark driving an OLED. Not entirely sure what code I've put on there or what it's designed to be doing, but I found a code that works. So time to do some modification of that program and see what we can make it do. I think I've got something happening here. Should come up in a moment. Right, I've got it counting seconds. Hello focus, there we go. I've got it counting seconds and up to 8 characters worth. I should be able to come up with some sort of a useful thing with this. At the moment I'm thinking maybe a kitchen timer. What I really want to do with this though is hook up a real-time clock and use it as a watch of some kind. But anyway, let's keep going and see what else we can do with this. Okay, so I'm making some headway in making a little sketch here. I've run into a problem. I need to free 57 more bytes, or rather I have to free 70 bytes, which means I probably need to get rid of those 2 integers. So working out how to make my program run without integers is going to be fun. Part of this is because I'm including both that tiny 4K OLED.h and the tiny YM, which is the I2C libraries. I kind of can't do without them, and that's what's consuming most of the memory. So this is about all the code space I have to work with. So let's see if I can shave 70 bytes out of my code. Well, after trying numerous different ways of trying to get this program to work, I've found that I can install a more efficient bootloader on the Digispark, and I should be able to save about 700 bytes. So this is where we're at the moment, running the micronucleus bootloader upgrade and a version 1.11, which is a fairly aggressive bootloader. I'm not sure how we're going to go from here, but let's see. I've got to plug in the device. So off camera here, I'm going to plug in my device. And it's had some checksum errors. So too big for the bootloader. Okay, let's have a look. This is a Chinese clone Digispark, so I'm going to work on this a little bit more. Okay, so I found my way around GitHub and I found the AT-Tiny85 Aggressive, which is apparently a very cut down version of it. So we'll see what that happens. Alright, I've updated the micronucleus command line tool, and I found the new T85 Aggressive hex file, the firmware file. We're about to run that now. We have to plug in our device, which I'm fumbling with here. Let's have a crack at this. Haha, looks like it's updated. That's nicely. Program file is too big for the bootloader. Let me do some more homework. Okay, after reading the documentation here, I realized that I already have 6330 bytes free, and over in this demo over here, that's what I would expect. So I think this batch of clones I have already has the lightweight firmware. Plan C time. Well, I've gone back to my code and done a little bit of working. I've managed to use a Boolean instead of an integer, save a little bit of memory space. I'm probably going to have to get rid of this this digital read method. I'm going to have to find a direct way to write to the pins to save a little bit more RAM. But I've saved 10 bytes, so I now need to free 60 bytes instead of 70. We'll work on this. There's not a lot of room to work with, but then again, this is kind of like working with my good old VIC-20 that I have. So this will be fun. Okay, well I'm now at the point in which I've tried many different iterations of Digisparks and whatnot. These OLED displays work quite well. The solution I came up with to get everything to fit was to at the suggestion of the Arduino forums, was to reduce some of the unnecessary characters in the font. Now that worked, but something I'm doing when I edit the font causes some weird display anomalies here. It looks a bit like white noise. I'll see if I can get that to demonstrate for the camera shortly. But at this point, this is going to become a two-parter. Now I should point out I have been able to successfully test my code using the AT Mega. That's quite good. However, these guys, once the bootloader's on there, there's really very little space, around the area of about 6,000 bytes or 6,012. By the time the bootloader's on there, I have managed to flash these with a more aggressive bootloader and save a little bit more space, but not very much. This guy also works just as well. It's got more space to play with, but that doesn't solve my problem. I want to make a portable, little tiny low-power device that uses just these two modules. So it's going to be tricky, but this is why I started with this. I wanted to get a challenge and learn some new stuff. So I guess that's where this is happening. All right, let's see if I can get this programmed up and demonstrate what happens when I shorten the or remove the unnecessary characters from the fonts. Now, I apologize for the horrible lighting here. It's the conditions I have to work with at the moment. This is the 16 by 32 font, and you can see here they've put the code notations in for each character. Now I've trimmed it down to characters 0 through 9, and that's it. I'm not even using a colon. I'm just trimming all of that out. And I'm assuming that when I remove these, I need to take that hunk of code out there. Now, I'm not sure if there's an index attached to this that indicates how many characters are actually in here, but nothing that I could see. So this will allow me to fit the code on there, but I'm going to try replicate some of my early code, program that straight to the unit, and then show you what happens. I'm just going to quickly run down through my code here. I've changed things a little bit just for demonstration purposes. So we've got hour, minute, and second integers. We have all the setup for the OLEDs. We have a 100 millisecond delay here just to speed things up a little bit. Normally that would be a 1000. I'm trying to have this set the cursor to the first row at the first pixel. And give me, you know, just a time. So we should have 2 rows of text with this, and then setting each one of these characters, you know, about 30 pixels apart. And it also, obviously, once it hits 60 seconds, it should tick over, count up another minute, and at 60 minutes, it should count over and make 1 more hour. It should. But anyway, the trouble I've had in getting this to display, I'll show you shortly. Once I program this in and hook the display up, you'll see what happens. Now this is an example of what happens. Now I know the fonts are overlapping and all that sort of stuff. However, if I do this with an unmodified font, everything looks quite clean, but I don't have this sort of anomaly. Like I can see overlapping characters, but the edges are still quite defined. In this situation, I've got this white noise thing happening. This only seems to happen when I modify the font, so that's a bit of a mystery. So, but I am proving the concept that we can make an OLED run on a Digispark. And it looks like it hasn't pulled enough current. It's just turned off my battery bank there in the background. So certainly running low power, that's nice. So this is my problem. This happens even when I use smaller fonts as well that correctly fit and are in properly position spacing. So this video is going to become a 2-parter, and I'll probably show some of the guys in the forum this video to help explain my problems too. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to walk away from this until I can get some more information and gain some more knowledge about exactly what I'm doing here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys at some point in the near future.